The Supreme Court and Kyrsten Sinema have delivered a 1-2 death blow to Joe Biden. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Supreme Court's decision to strike down Biden's OSHA mandates. We're going to see how Kyrsten Sinema has crushed the Democrats' hopes of taking over our national elections. And stick me to the very end of this video when I'll reveal what these twin death blows really mean for Biden and the Democrats. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your daily fake news antidote. As each and every day I provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and insane and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we begin, gang, as many of you know, we have recently launched a brand new initiative called Change America. It's so awesome. It enables ordinary patriots to do extraordinary things. It's a program that makes it possible for literally anyone and everyone to help unseat rhinos by just simply doing your daily grocery shopping. You can back America First candidacies by simply going out to eat. What it does is it's a program that can round off your debit or credit card purchases to the nearest dollar and then use that change to support patriot causes all over the nation. It's amazing. So make sure to click on that link below to sign up or just learn more about our Change America initiative. And let's make 2022 the most epic red wave ever. All right, gang, let's dive right in here, boy. Did Biden have a bad day yesterday? My, oh my, it just went from bad to worse. And you can see it. He had a meltdown on Capitol Hill, which we'll check out for ourselves in a moment. Let's start with the Supreme Court decision. As I'm sure you all know by now, the Supreme Court did indeed strike down Biden's OSHA vaccine mandate for all workers in all industries and workplaces above 100 employees. It was a radically sweeping executive order that affected upwards of 85 million people. It's a full 2/3 of American employers. Well, that executive order as of today is dead. It's dead as a doornail. The decision to kill it was 6-3, with, of course, the 3 liberals on the court dissenting. The majority ruling affirmed that Congress had never granted OSHA, this is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, Congress never gave them the authority to act on a mandate of this magnitude. Biden's executive order, therefore, is dead and buried. Now, the court did uphold the mandate requirement for healthcare workers, in my opinion, unfortunately. But Roberts and Kavanaugh sided with the liberals, noting that at least there is precedent for HHS, Health and Human Services Department. There is precedent to require healthcare workers to meet guidelines to ensure the health and safety of Medicare and Medicaid patients. And really, in the end, that's the key here. There is at least some historical precedent for HHS to mandate requirements for healthcare workers, while there is simply no precedent for OSHA to mandate vaccinations for 85 million people. And so the court basically told Biden, look, if you're going to mandate a particular industry, we'll consider it. We'll allow it if there's some historical precedent for it. But there is no way we're going to allow you to impose a mandate on the American people in such a non-discriminatory, broad brush fashion. That's simply not going to happen under our jurisdiction. So that was very, very good news indeed. And then, to make matters even worse, Senator Kyrsten Sinema took to the Senate floor and gave a rather impassioned speech saying in no uncertain terms she will not in any way vote to eliminate the filibuster in order to pass this so-called voting rights bill, the perniciously named For the People Act. The speech, in effect, crushed Chucky Schumer's attempt to ram through the act by holding a vote where a simple majority would end the Senate filibuster and basically destroy the Senate. Remember, everything woke really does turn to shit, including the Senate, but it does appear that that is not going to happen. And the reaction by the mainstream media, the very, very disappointed mainstream media, was direct, and it was swift. The ultra-leftist Andrea Mitchell of MSNBC said it best: Sinema completely embarrassed Biden. Sinema took to the Senate floor literally just an hour or so before Biden arrived on Capitol Hill to lobby senators to do away with the filibuster. She knew he was coming there for that, and she got up and she very publicly rebuked him and said, in effect, you are wasting your time here. She publicly humiliated him. For his part, Biden, needless to say, suffered a meltdown on Capitol Hill. This was just yesterday. Things just went from bad to worse after he met with the Democrats in the Senate to see what the prospects were for passing the Democrats' so-called Voting Reform Act, the John Lewis Act, the For the People Act. would effectively enshrine voter fraud in all subsequent national elections. Here's Biden after that meeting.
First of all, you all ask questions about complicated subjects like, can you get this done? I hope we can get this done. The honest to God answer is, I don't know whether we can get this done. Is this mic on? I guess, anyway. And I'm not sure either. But anyway, I hope we can get this done. But I'm not sure. But one thing for certain, like every other major civil rights bill that came along, if we missed the first time, we could come back and try it a second time. We missed this time. And the state legislative bodies continue to change the law, not as to who can vote, but who gets to count the vote. Count the vote. Count the vote. It's about election subversion, not just whether or not people get to vote. Who counts the vote? That's what this is about. That's what makes this so different than anything else we've ever done. I don't know that we can get it done, but I know one thing. As long as I have a breath in me, as long as I'm in the White House, as long as I'm engaged at all, I'm going to be fighting to change the way these legislatures have moving. Thank you.
Is this thing on? Is this mic on? Did you notice what he basically said? I guess it is, but if not, anyway. In other words, he realizes in the end, nobody cares what he has to say. Nobody cares. For heaven's sakes, the mainstream media news outlets are speculating which Democrat is going to replace him in 2024. No one cares what this guy says anymore. But did you notice what he did say? It's not just who votes, it's who gets to count the vote. Count the votes. Count the vote. That's right. What Biden is freaking out over here is in response to the latest moves by Republican legislators across the nation to restore their constitutionally mandated responsibility to directly oversee elections. And as part of that, you have significant and sweeping changes going on right now, as we speak, in state legislatures in terms of changing or clarifying their constitutional standards for conducting elections. And what we have to understand is that state legislators constitutionally have what's called plenary authority to determine how elections are conducted in terms of the time, place, and manner of their own choosing. But as we so rudely found out in November 2020, many of those states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Georgia, they had acquiesced that authority. They farmed it out. They sublet it to various state agencies like the Secretary of State and elections commissions. And the legislators basically stayed out of it. Well, no more. States like Pennsylvania, Texas, South Carolina, Georgia, they are all implementing very strict guidelines and protocols to clarify and streamline any gray areas in their respective constitutions regarding how elections are to be conducted, such that state legislatures have restored their constitutionally mandated oversight regarding elections. And the Democrats are freaking out over this. Bumbling Biden and the Dems, the worst rock band in the world, are freaking out over Republican legislatures reasserting their constitutionally authorized responsibility to oversee the integrity of the elections. And you know why they're freaking out over this, right? Because there's so much rampant corruption, particularly in urban areas, that Republican legislatures are going to potentially crush any advantage that the urban vote has had up until this point, precisely because of that corruption. That's why they're freaking out. And that's why Democrats are now starting to pile on old Sleepy Joe. After Biden gave his embarrassing speech in Atlanta the other day, which called on the Senate to pass the John Lewis Act and for the People's Act, again, both of which would enshrine voter fraud in our national elections by removing much-needed safeguards for election integrity, Democrats like Illinois Senator Dick Durbin distanced themselves from Biden. Biden actually went so far as to say in that speech that either you're with John Lewis or you're with Bull Connor. You're either with us, Democrats who want to nationalize elections and forever enshrine the absurd 2020 voting conditions for the future, or you're with racist, bigoted segregationists. And so even Democrats thought that was over the top. And with these latest losses back to back, now they're piling on Biden. Trump, too, had a thing or two to say about the Supreme Court decision. He tweeted out, quote, The Supreme Court has spoken, confirming what we all knew. Biden's disastrous mandates are unconstitutional. Biden promised to shut down the virus, not the economy, but he's failed miserably on both. And mandates would have further destroyed the economy. Well, that's for sure. And when you combine this with the implosion of the whole Build Back Better fiasco, thank you, Joe Manchin, right? There's just no question. The Biden presidency, as of today, is effectively dead. His national mandates are gone. His Build Back Better signature legislation is gone. His For the People Act is gone. I mean, we could keep going. Biden's gun control efforts are dead in the Senate. His proposed expansion of the federal minimum wage, that's dead. The codification of Roe v. Wade into statutory law, that's dead. Are you seeing a pattern here, my friends? SCOTUS and SINEMA have dealt a decisive death blow to the Biden presidency, which raises the question as to how much longer this ridiculous shell of a man will continue to occupy the office. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out one of my latest videos. It's so cool. I just uploaded it on alpha males who will never get woke. It's so much fun and it's so inspiring. It's going to absolutely make your day. So make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless.